everybody, and welcome back to our Origin Summer Preview 2016. I'm sitting here with Jamie, and she's going to be showing us Imhotep from Kosmos, recent nominee for the Game of the Year, Spiel des Jahres, and a gorgeous looking game.
So, in this game, Imhotep was a builder of Egypt, and he was famed for building the earliest pyramids and just being this amazing engineer and mathematician of his time. And so what we are doing is we are also builders in this game, and we are hoping to move these supplies from the stone quarry on our sleds here via ships to various building sites.
Got it.
When you go to different building sites, you earn points in different ways depending on where you end up going.
Okay.
So, at the beginning of every round, there's cards provided with a number of players with the heads at the top of each card. Each round, you would flip over a card which would tell you the 4 ships to use during that round.
Okay, that's what's available.
These would be our 4 ships this round.
And then it's right.
Exactly.
Okay.
When it's your turn, you can mine from the quarry. And when you're mining, say you're the white player, you can take 3 cubes at a time.
All right, and I would just store them on here.
Exactly. That is your sled for moving your stones.
Got it.
You can only fit 5, so if you were to mine again, you could only take 2, not 3.
Okay.
But that's it. That's your turn. That was your action. Something else you could do on a turn is place a stone on a ship.
All right, and I could do that on any ship.
You can place it in any ship, any spot available. Doesn't have to be front to back. You can put it anywhere you want to put it.
Okay.
Third action for a turn is to dock a ship at any available port, and these are the ports.
Got it. So it would just land right in there.
Exactly.
With whatever it's carrying.
Exactly.
Some of mine, or even a combination of different players.
Exactly. Something to note, though, is you can only move a ship once it's filled with the minimum capacity that's indicated with those stones at the front of each ship. So once that had 3, or once the smaller one had 1, this one had 2, then you could move them.
Okay.
So this is really important because as you're playing, you start to try to discover the other people's strategies based on where they're placing their stones. If someone just placed a black stone on the 3rd space, you can say, I bet they're going to the temple. And you use your turn to instead send them off somewhere different and kind of mess up their whole strategy. So it gets a little mean.
Okay.
And then, depending on where you land, you earn points in different ways.
Okay.
So I guess we'll just start at the top.
Let's do it.
This is the market. Every round, there's 4 new market cards that are displayed. And some of them are effective immediately, the red ones. Some of them are assessed at the very end of the game. They're collections that you take on throughout the game. And the blue cards are sort of a double action. So instead of mining or placing a stone, it will let you, during your turn, do both. So they're all advantageous in their own ways. And what happens is every time you land at a port, the ship unloads from front to back. So the first player here would get to pick a card, then whoever has the second stone would get to pick, and so on until they were all gone.
And then it's refilled?
It refills at the beginning of the next round. There's 6 rounds in the game.
Okay.
The pyramid, again, unloaded front to back. You start with a big arrow, and you unload your cubes here. This one is assessed immediately. So right now, when I place those 3 stones, white would have got 2 points, black would have got 1 point, brown would have got 3 points, and then if there was another, you would start here, and you fill in this way. On this, there's a point guide. So the second level of the pyramid is here. And again, you fill starting in the upper left. So, top level of the pyramid would get 4 points, and then any additional would just get 1.
And it's a pyramid.
And that's a pyramid.
All right, very cool.
The temple is assessed at the end of every single round.
Okay.
With the temple, you fill it from left to right. And what you want to go for here is a bird's eye view. That's how the points are assessed. So in this case, white would get 2 points, black would get 2 points, gray would get 1. But say next round that happened. Now, from what you see above, gray would get 2 points, white would get 2, and black would only get 1.
Okay.
So you just keep building all these up throughout the whole course of the game. You don't clear them off between rounds. The burial chamber is something that you want to go for the longest contiguous strings of stones. So again, you start filling in the upper right here. And there's a point guide here. So if you have 2 touching, you get 3 points for it. If you have 4 touching, you get 10 points for
You
it.
could ideally end up with something like that, and that's 4 connected
Precisely.
ones.
As long as they're not diagonal, they have to be actually touching vertically or horizontally.
And that's
if
a single level on that floor, or do you build above
It's a
that?
single level. It
Okay.
builds out if you need to, and you assess every group of contiguous that you have. It doesn't all have to be one long snake because people will be blocking you
Of course.
if they're doing their jobs. And then the obelisks are just towers. So you simply, each color gets their own square, and you build up as high as you can throughout the course of the game. And then depending on how many players you have, there's different point structures. If it was just you and I, whoever has the tallest tower would get 10 points,
Okay.
and the other person only gets 1 point.
I see. Very cool. And so,
The round ends when all 4 ships are docked.
okay.
And in that case, you would score the temple, since that's the one that's scored at the end of every round. And otherwise, at the end of the game, you would score the ones that are accumulated throughout the game, and then any cards that you have that are assigned point values. And this is your scoring track.
Very cool. And so besides that, also, all these have B-sides as well, which change the rules a little bit.
Exactly.
And we'll show a couple of them. We won't go into all the detail as well on those sides, but we'll show the camera a couple of them. So you could mix and match these sides,
Yeah,
right?
you can either play
You
all
can make the game
these.
you want to play with the powers you end up preferring the best.
Exactly. So the mechanics of building are very similar, but there's little bonuses on the B side. In this case, there's just some extra cards or tokens or placement that you would get for landing in these different pyramid sites. They're
Very
all
cool.
just tiny tweaks that make it a little bit more interesting.
Very nice. So it uses that Egyptian theme in a very interesting way, very thematic way with the pyramid, with the tombs, everything. Very
Right.
cool. When is this available?
So we actually pushed up the availability. We were going to release at Gen Con, but now we have it here at Origins.
Okay.
We have 50 copies a day, and it's $40. We're doing 10% off at the show.
All right. So if you're watching live, which you would be over there,
line
and
up
you're
early.
here, then go get one. And otherwise, when can we get it? What's the street date?
So
we
our
can get it pretty much now.
distributors are getting it this week. So if you buy from game distributors, you can go there. Otherwise, we'll have more available in August. So we'll definitely plan on having some at Gen Con as well.
Very cool. Thank you for showing it to us.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, folks, for tuning in. That is Imhotep.